you select Nav on the ESID MFD knobs, the navigation display is shown in the variable data area of each MFD. It contains essentially the same EHSI information as the PFD compass format. To declutter the display, it does not show a VNAV vertical scale or some FMS messages. But it can show important information such as weather radar, the optional terrain awareness display, nav aids, and TCAS symbology. When the FMS is the navigation source, you also see routes in magenta to the next waypoint and white beyond it, including holding patterns, procedure turns, and runways. Each side can display different navigation sources independently. Here, MFD1 shows your horizontal position relative to VOR1, and MFD2 shows the FMS route. You select the nav source for each side on the flight guidance panel. Let's take a closer look at the modes and display options. We'll start with VOR ILS. Most of the indications are conventional, but there are lots of them. ARC is the default mode displayed when you select MFD nav on the ESID. It shows your position in an arc 45 degrees either side of the current heading. The range in nautical miles for each MFD is selected on the EFIS control panel, and the half range is shown here. The course pointer on each side is selected on the flight guidance control panel and always has a digital readout next to the navigation source. The course pointer is identical to the one on the EHSI. The heading can be set by the corresponding knob on the flight guidance control panel. When you move the heading bug, a selected heading dotted radial and digital value pop up for 5 seconds. The dotted radial and digital heading also come on, but this time stay on, whenever the heading is outside the current 90-degree visible arc. Here is the navigation source, together with its frequency and distance to station if equipped with DME. Note that if the FMS was selected as the navigation source, the distance would be to the next waypoint. Remember that this is the course pointer digital readout. It is not related to the navigation source. If the navigation source is not equipped with DME, you get dashes. You can then hold the DME from another station. You'll also see the estimated time to or from the station. The to from indicator shows whether you are flying towards or away from the current selected VOR. It is removed if the nav source is an ILS. When on an ILS, you get the normal glide slope pointer and scale, but the expanded localizer and scale is only shown on the PFD. In the middle of the course pointer is the course deviation bar and scale. The bar represents the selected course of a VOR or the center line of a selected ILS. Each dot on the scale is a 5-degree deviation for a VOR and a 1¼ degree deviation for an ILS. So here you're about 3 degrees left of the selected course, and here you're about 2½ degrees to the right of the localizer center line. On the right are the wind direction and speed. Low wind speeds are described as light and variable, true airspeed, and ground speed. The magenta drift angle bug shows the heading required to compensate for wind. Now the second format on the MFD, full mode, sometimes called plan mode. Pushing the format button on the EFIS control panel changes it to full mode. Touch the format button. Full mode shows a full 360-degree horizontal situation, always oriented to north, with a centered aircraft oriented to the current heading, and range and half-range circles. The course indication acts like the course pointer. and shows the radial around the currently selected nav source. Moving this side's course pointer rotates the radial. You cannot show TCAS, weather radar or enhanced terrain in full mode, but you can show different nav aids from the FMS database using the data button. Touch the data button. The first push shows the 10 nearest nav aids. Touch the data button again. The second push shows the 10 nearest airports. Touch the data button again. The third push shows the 10 nearest nav aids and 10 nearest airports. The fourth push removes all nav aids and airports. This is the default state. Note that the data button also works in ARC mode. So far we've seen a VOR or ILS as a navigation source. You can also have the FMS as the nav source in either ARC or full modes. Touch the left nav source to select FMS. No, the left FMS indications are magenta, in particular the current track to the next waypoint on the flight plan. A yellow indication means that there is only one FMS source. With the FMS as a nav source, you get an FMS map with indications such as VORs, VOR DMEs, holding patterns on the flight plan, procedure turns on the flight plan, and runways on the flight plan. Remember that display of the nearest nav aids and airports is controlled by the data button on the EFIS control panel. If you selected a desired track on the FMS, the track bearing is shown here and the track error is displayed. In this example, the aircraft is left of the desired track. On the EFIS control panel, this push button selects weather radar or enhanced terrain for display in ARC mode only. On the weather radar panel, with the antenna switched on, you can select weather radar or weather radar alert. Ground mapping is generally not used because enhanced terrain is better. On the MFD you see the weather radar on indication, the tilt angle of the antenna to the horizontal, and of course indications of low, medium and high intensity precipitation echoes. If the alert function was selected, red areas flash. A flashing magenta target indicates a red storm cell ahead, which could be off-screen. We'll deal with weather radar and enhanced terrain in more detail in later lessons. Finally, failure flags on the MFD. Missing or invalid data is shown by the normal white dashes. A yellow heading source flag indicates that both sides are receiving heading data from only one source, in this case AHARS-1, and a yellow heading failure flag, like on the PFD EHSI, indicates a heading mismatch of more than 9 degrees between the left and right systems. You can also see flags for engine display or PFD problems, for weather radar failure or TCAS failure. In the event of a total AHARS failure, you get the red fail flag and most of the display disappears.